What's up guys, and welcome back to Gabe Miller Music. Today I'm going to be showing you some obnoxious Gen Z ass music here on the Elektron Model cycles. Not something you typically expect on hardware like this, which is exactly why I wanted to go for it. And also because this thing is perfect for, I guess, what you could call hyperpop. Basically a sincere take on a bass boosted meme take on modern pop and trap music. Kind of something inspired by 100 gecs, especially Hand Crushed by a Mallet and Toothless. Very distorted bass and drums, very aggressive and punchy, but with these kind of 90s trancey synths. It's a vibe I've been enjoying a lot lately. I love the kind of unhinged, chaotic nature of it, and I realized that the model cycles would actually be perfect for it. Not necessary for it, but would complement that style very well. And also, I'm all about trying to bring together kind of the slightly older hardware enthusiast demographic that watches this channel, and then the bedroom EDM and hip hop producer. Bring those together, find some common ground, bring my taste in music into that mix, and go from there. So, I'm gonna play part of the jam, and then I'll walk you through it. Messy, but you get the idea. And the distortion is entirely intentional. So let's dive into the individual elements. I think I've got everything unmuted at this point. First of all, the kick. And this is what made me really want to try this, is just how absolutely disgusting this kick can sound. I'm going to talk about this in kind of a dedicated review video, but the kick is by far my favorite part of this device. It's super versatile, super punchy, super modern. So in this case, got the decay turned all the way up. So it rings up, very 808-like in nature. The color turned all the way up. You can hear as I turn this up, this adds more upper harmonics, which really works when put through as much distortion as it's being put through. Kick shape is also adding either some harmonics or probably some noise, and that's also getting sent through the distortion. And the higher up it gets, the tinier it gets, so I found a good medium there. Sweep up a little bit. That's a totally different vibe, so it's somewhere in the middle-ish, and then contour. I wanted to keep some transient, so turning it all the way up gets too much emphasis on transient, but turning it all the way down, it doesn't punch enough for me, even though it's technically a little more aggressive. And then I've got it cranked on here and on this volume right here, and that's really going a long way towards the distortion, and everything goes through that distortion, which is a blessing and a curse. I wish I had a little more control over which elements have distortion and which don't, but in this case, because I want everything to be pretty abrasive, it works. Let me mute this stuff. Let's talk about the snare. There are actually a couple layers. So this is the snare, a pretty straightforward snare patch. I'll talk about this more in future videos, but the snare's not all that versatile, although when allowed to be kind of high and tinny, it can be incredibly punchy. So I leaned into that, and once again, that goes perfectly for the hyperpop sound anyway. So I've got it kind of in the middle, so it's got that kind of harmonic ringiness to it. Shape turned all the way up. So that's got that noise in there. Sweep all the way up, so it's got kind of a lasering effect. That I've found is great for getting it to be as punchy as it is here. Contour all the way up. And then it's sent a bit to delay, and that delay send, aka the delay amount, is actually modulated slightly, so it does evolve, kind of dips up and down over time. So that's one component of the snare. The other component of the snare is this clangy metallic sound, and this is the Percussion Engine, which I don't use all that much, but it came in clutch here. This was what really made the hyperpop snare come to life for me, because it sounds kind of like the clanging of a something made out of metal, like a pan lid or something. So this gets more and more aggressive and abrasive as you move the shape forward. Sweep turned down pretty much all the way. and it's getting sent to some reverb. So paired with the snare, you hear how it rings out like that? Which is perfect for the it's the hyperpop snare. I've recreated the hyperpop snare with hardware, which I think is just really cool. Moving on to the hi-hat, nothing exciting about this. It's just kind of going. And I've got it panned a little bit to the left. I know that's reversed for you, but whatever. And then I've got the super saw panned to the right a little bit. So let's talk about that. This is actually the Chord Engine. If you go to chord shape, you can, but in this case, if you go to unison, it's a super saw. Stop that. So I've got unison times 3. That's a bit much, so I've got the color fairly low. Sweep adjusted to taste, and contour turned all the way up. And then this is your main lead. And it sounds kind of aggressive on its own, but then when the kick kicks in, pun not intended, it distorts it really hard, which I love. It makes it sound so friggin' dirty. So this is an FM synth patch. The color is at like 3.3 something, I think. That's how you get there. It's got that really kind of clear quality to it. That's a bit much, so shape is adjusted to taste just to bring out some aggression. Sweep in the middle, a little lower. Contour. I've used contour in a bit of an interesting way because you may have noticed I had it turned all the way up at the very beginning, and then I turned it down and that made it more aggressive. So I used it to kind of bring this element in. And there's just a little bit of reverb on it. Not enough to really make a huge difference, but it is there. So that pairs pretty nicely with these. And once again, you can hear how the distortion kick in. So that is it for today. A pretty quick video. This was just an experiment that I wanted to conduct, and I think it performed quite nicely. It definitely won't be to everyone's taste, but I thought this was a fun way to really push this thing in a direction that I've heard it nudged a little bit, but I kind of took it too far, and I think it actually works really well. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more model cycle videos, you can click or tap up over here somewhere, and I'll be back with a new video in a little bit.